there. The cemetery looks really great. They're doing the commission is doing a great job, and they're doing more than just meeting. They're actually up there working as well. So, and they'll be working. They'd like to work with the Landmarks Commission and talk to Karen about the potential of some new gates, entry gates into the facility as well. So that's all.
Thank you. Further reports, Mr. Strasser.
Medford Water Commission met yesterday. Spring flows are still up quite high, which is great. Willow Lake is full. The algae advisory has been lifted. That's also good. That's pretty much for the meeting. They did adjourn to an executive session to discuss contractual matters. So that's my report on the Water Commission.
Thank you.
Your Honor?
Yes, please.
A brief report. I discussed this earlier with Greg. Went to the Sister City Committee meeting Monday night. I wanted to let you all know that we're expecting 29 youth from the city of Alba at the end of August, first part of September, and they should be here to visit with us on the 1st of September. So we look forward to the visit of the students and their chaperones. And Greg and I will have more to report later.
Okay, good. Thank you. Further committee reports. This is the time for comments, so anybody have any comments? Mr. Corcoran.
Two, I'll start with one that you all have an email on, and the first annual Liberty Park Community Free Barbecue is coming up on Saturday from 11 to 2. Our police departments and fire department have graciously consented to have a presence at that event. And given the events of this past week, I think that this event has a unique opportunity to for a little bit of healing in our community, in a neighborhood that has had its own share of scars and bruises. And this event has been largely organized by a former city councilman. Kurt Bennett has been putting this together in his role and capacity as a board member. And it is free. Hamburgers, hot dogs, ice cream, popcorn, kids' games, balloons, face painting, and displays. And they're also going to have on display the future community garden space in the Liberty Park neighborhood. And, of course, an event like this wouldn't be possible without a lot of community support and business support. So I'd like to publicly acknowledge Umpqua Dairy, Pepsi, South Valley Bank and Trust, Food for Less, OK Market, Red Robin, D.A. Davidson, Costco, and Airgas for their participation, and invite you all to come down, make an appearance, and have a popcorn, have a hot dog, hamburger. It's free. The bonuses that we have. And finally, I would just like to say thank you to Mr. Dial. I'll never forget the first time that I met him, and I know that he will never forget the first time that he met me, and it was one of the few times that I saw the man come in and actually have a deer in the headlights look. Because I was waiting for him in his office, and at that point in time I was still a news reporter, and the camera was already set up, and the camera was already up on the tripod, and he walked in the door, and it was like, already?
It was my first moment on the job.
It was his first moment on the job, his first time in City Hall, and I have learned, suffice it to say, a tremendous amount, not only from you fellow counselors and the mayor, but from Mr. Hoke and Mr. Dial. Our perceptions of what this job is as a city councilor and what the reality is can often be two different things. And I really thank you for the patience in explaining the reality to me. And in a region, in a community where we are blessed with some extremely talented private CEOs, we were so blessed and so fortunate to have one of the best public CEOs at the helm of our ship. And I thank you and wish you and Margaret the absolute best that life has to offer.
Thank you, Chris. Thank you very much.
Sir.
Mr. Strasser.
Well, it's a time of change, and after 13 years, Mr. Dial is going. And as a resident on a personal level, and as a council member from the professional sense, I'm certainly going to miss having you here, Mr. Dial. Margaret, you'll be missed as well, too, not just for the lemon cake, but for everything.
Everything.
I can't think of anyone who's had a higher commitment of service and to getting things done in this community. As you leave, I also have to reflect on the legacy of the good people you've selected to fill different roles. You commented about some of the city departments, but they're all great, and the department heads that you have been able to put in place are absolutely exceptional. And as you ride off into the sunset or wherever it is that your heart takes you, that legacy will continue on with the good work from all of those people, and they are much appreciated as well. So I just wanted to thank you. I can't tell you how much I've appreciated being able to work with you.
Thank you, Bob. It's been great.
Other comments? Mr. Dinsmore.
Your Honor, I've been blessed to serve the city a couple of times in the 70s and early 80s and presently. I served with what I believe two very outstanding city managers, John Thompson and now Mike Dial. And what's interesting to me, looking back over time, is that both were strong in their convictions. Both hired, as already been expressed, extremely talented people, and created a process in which they and the council could work to be successful. And I think also both made decisions, though they were not easy many times, that made the fiscal health of the city very, very strong on both occasions. And I think both of those periods in Medford's history we'll look back on and realize that to the extent that we're very pleased and proud that we're in as good a fiscal position as we are, we're due to people like John Thompson and Mike Dial, and I salute you.
Thank you.
Karen.
I have 3 comments. First of all, at your places you have a thing on Trademark America. It's an education opportunity that's come to us. It's a seminar that's going to be held in Grants Pass, and Councilman Kuntz and myself would love to be able to attend this. There is a cost to it, and we'd like that to be considered by the council to be taken out of the city council budget for us to be able to go to that. It's $50 a person plus $5 a person for the workbook.
Yes, please, Ms. Strauss.
I'm just going to suggest that absent any objection, I'd certainly want to approve this. You know, it's good that Karen wants to spend the time and get training, and Jim as well.
If there's no objections, we'll just go ahead and authorize the expenditure and forward the tuition for you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
My second comment is I would like to recognize Jonathan Bilden, who is a council person to the north of us from Eagle Point. Thank you for coming today. And my third comment is, oh boy, Mike the manager has been my buddy for my 6 months of rookie status. And thank you.
Good to have you here.
Mr. Gordon.
I have to bring up the subject of replacing Mike. I did send all of you an email, something that I wrote out last night because I was going to ask Bill to put this on the agenda for the study session we have in August, and then I realized that I've got a family obligation up in Washington I need to be at and won't be there. I'd like to take a couple minutes and go through this very quickly, and then depending on your wishes, it needs to go on the study session agenda in August or an alternative date. The city council hires the city manager. In case of a tie vote, the mayor casts a vote. But I would certainly hope that we wouldn't hire anybody that didn't have almost unanimous or had unanimous support of the council and the mayor. The critical thing right now is recruiting, and we do have choices. We can discuss going with a recruiting firm that has experience in assisting cities in recruiting public officials. I'm not exactly sure of the process, but I can tell you that we need to establish some criteria. For example, that they must have experience in recruiting public officials. Because of the cultural difference between the East Coast and the West Coast, that recruiting experience needs to include West Coast. And whether we need to do that through an RFQ or go directly to an RFP, I don't know. But if we go that route, we do need to sit down with the appropriate people on staff to establish what the criteria is that we are seeking from the firm. We can use local folks, recruiting agencies. We have the option just to advertise in newspapers throughout an area that we define, contact as many people as we can directly to solicit them or others they may know to apply, use online advertising, etc., but basically do it ourselves. And if we did that route, we need to select a point person to receive all the inquiries and applications. My recommendation is that we go national recruiting firm area or direction, and that we get assistance from staff in basically going about it in a way that we're going to be able to get the firms that that really can be in the best position to assist us in replacing Mike as city manager. But that's the key thing that either we now need to decide, or we're missing 2 members now, or on the 11th when you meet. Also, just as important, we need to get started on determining the qualifications that we're looking for in a city manager. This is not limited to experience and education, but what do we want to do in background checks? What intrinsic criteria need to approve a job description? I assume Mike has a job description, although I don't recall reading it. And I would recommend this can be completed by what I'm referring to as the group of 9, which is the mayor and the council. And I recommend we do it through a facilitator, either a facilitator from this group, use someone from the city staff. My personal preference is to see if Jenny Mismer from the League of Oregon Cities is available. She knows all of us except for John Michaels and Karen, I think. And John Michaels may know her. She's been with the League of Oregon Cities for a long time, and she helped us with the goal setting, our last goal setting session. Or we can wait, and if we go the national recruiting firm area, they have people that they would send out that would assist us through the same process. So we have some choices there. I also recommend that we ask the department heads to go through the same process, because the department heads may have ideas on qualifications that we may not consider or we may miss. And I think it would be very advantageous to have the support of the department heads and their input on the qualifications, and those qualifications they can suggest to this group in order that we can consider them. I also recommend that we consider forming a community business group to go through the same process and to offer the same suggestions to us on qualifications. I think that in a position like this, it really is necessary for us to seek counsel from the local business community as well as the community at large. and we would need to discuss how to form that committee, ask the chamber to do it, ask HMA to do it, how, or